Let's say you got to replace a wheel bearing. This is on an Audi VW, but this is going to be similar to a lot of vehicles. The wheel bearing itself is going to look similar to this. And you got to make sure that you put it in the right way, because first you have to press out this flange and you have to press it back in this new bearing. So this is the part that goes in the spindle, and then the flange, the wheel bolt flange, presses in this way. So first, you can get one of these bearing splitters and you can actually have the full kit and separate it using these right here, but normally I just kind of toss it in like this. So you got to space it up a little bit. The idea is you got to support these ears and then push out the flange from the backside. So I'm just going to lift this up and kind of pop this in over these two edges. See how I have some of these various supports? Like these are just some pieces of steel to prop it up a little bit. And I set it on there and just kind of slide it in here sideways and then push this thing together. There's no real need for me to actually tighten it down as long as it's spanning the gap. Get it centered over the press here, and then I'd like to put something in there and just push it straight down. So I'm going to get a socket. This is like a 36 millimeter. It fits pretty well as long as it's centered up. I really like this old screw press. Make sure it's perfectly centered. There we go. Now let's see how well this works. Now you see, these can't be in the way, which this one is a little bit, so I gotta adjust that. Pull it back up a little bit. Make sure this is completely clear on both sides. Go in a little bit more on this side. Out a little bit more on that side. Now it's completely clear, still centered. And now it's just simply pushing straight out. But there's one more step that we got to do. See, this is how it's separated. We got the bearing race on here still. That'll pop right off, but this part won't. There's a few different ways that you could do this, but we're gonna try. Most of the time I get my little Dremel tool and I just put a little slot in here, and then I take a chisel and pop it off the rest of the way. Or you could just try to hit it with an air hammer, but you can kind of nick this. There's a lot of different ways you can damage it as well. It doesn't really matter if you put a little slot, if you accidentally overcut a little bit. I know people are gonna hate that, me telling people things like this, but you try as much as possible to not get inside this material at all. You only wanna cut this bearing race. So let me just show you the heat method this time. First, I'm gonna wipe off the grease because I don't really want to be smoking it up. Now we're going to get out our torch. All right, back at it. We got plenty of heat this time. There we are. It just fell right off. That's the easiest way to get your bearing race off. Now we can just press this flange, this hub, back into the bearing and put it back into the knuckle. Like and subscribe. Now to finish out this demonstration, take this out of the way. You don't need this anymore. Then you can really kind of move all this out of the way and then just go like, I don't feel like lifting this whole assembly up. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is just stack these like this, and then maybe even like this. And that gets me closer to the height I need. And then you gotta make sure that this is going the right way. Remember, this is the part that goes in the knuckle, and this is the part that goes like such. You wanna make sure that this is cooled down enough. You don't really wanna burn up the grease in here, which it probably won't get that hot anyway. But maybe even hit it with a wire brush or make sure it's clean of rust. And then you're gonna set it perfectly straight and even like this. And then it really depends on your bearing, but in my case, I don't even need to put anything on top. It probably would help to put something on top. Like I could even do something like that right here. And then as long as it's perfectly centered, you just push it straight down. And I'm not going to do that yet because I still want to show, I've got 3 different hub bearings right now and I kind of just want to show them in a different video. But literally all you have to do is just squeeze it into place now.